Hello everyone, I am María Badilla and I come from Chile, which is located so far away from here. It's in the south of Latin America, and normally nobody knows where is Chile. So I incorporate some information about my country and my context in order, to get where I come from. So who I am? I am a teacher, and also I am a journalist. I am a master's degree in education, and also I am a PhD in education. My specialization is in ICT, and also I am doing my postdoc in the United States right now. I look like younger, but I'm not. I am in my 40s right now, so I'm very happy because I have experience, but I think I am young to prove new things in my field, in teaching. So I teach at the Universidad Católica de la Santísima Concepción, which is located in Concepción in Chile, which is in the south of Chile. And there I have a lot of responsibilities. I am the director of a journal scientific based on education, and this journal is indexed in Latindex. And also I am the director of the PhD program in education, which is a very big challenge for me because we are teaching that program between 4 universities. So we share the same program, and we have to teach in different locations, in different zones in Chile. And right now I am in charge of that program. And the universities are the Universidad Católica de Temuco, Universidad del Biobío, Universidad Católica del Maule, and my university. So this is me. And my university is located in the south of Chile. This is Santiago de Chile, which is the capital of Chile, and we are here in Concepción. And a lot of people know who we are because a very big tsunami in 2010 was in my zone. So a lot of people died because of that, but not because of the earthquake, because of the tsunami that was after the earthquake. And it was, at that time, the biggest earthquake in the history of the world. So it was very, very bad. And this is Concepción. You can see it's a beautiful city, and this is my university. This university is private, but we have help from the government because the 95% of our students are poor. So in order to study, they need to get help from the government. So we are doing right now a very big thing with that students because otherwise they couldn't study. And most of them are the first generation in their families who can go to the university. So we need to teach them a lot of basic skills, not just the career, you know what I mean? Another kind of skills like social skills or reading comprehension skills. So we have to do a lot of things to maintain our students in the first year. Otherwise, they will, lose the career. And as I told you before, I am doing my postdoc in the United States because I won a grant from my government to do a research in Arizona, at the Arizona State University, which is located in Arizona. And in this state, they have 40% of the students in the schools in a Spanish language. So they are from Mexico, from Ecuador, Bolivia, not too many Chilean kids, but most of them are Mexican. So that information is important because I will show you a very big important project which is, focuses on enhance the skills of that kind of kids. And well, Arizona is really very beautiful. And I'm working with 2 laboratories. One of them is with Dr. Maina Johnson. She's the head of the laboratory Embodied Games Lab. She develops video games. That's crazy because she's a woman, and that's not normal, not in the US at least. So I am working with her, and I am very proud because I translate everything, every video game into Spanish with them. And also we are trying to do new video games using virtual reality. So that's very fun. And also I am working with Dr. Arthur Glenberg, which is the husband of her, and he's in charge of the Embodied Cognition Lab. And with him, I'm working with iPads in a very big project that I am going to show you in a few minutes. So my presentation today, I thought, Lucy, that I haven't taught in almost a year because I'm doing most research in Arizona. So I think that this is the kind of class that I normally do. So this will be like my class of ICT in Chile. So I'm going to explain you the basis of the ICT, why ICT is important, why we as a professionals, not just educators, because I don't know if you are pre-service teachers, is important for us in this context in the society right now. So why do we need to integrate technology to enhance teaching and learning processes? That's my very big introduction. So our context right now say to us that in this new millennium, students and teachers must use the technology. And not only for teach, they have to use technology as a personal issue also. So it is very important to use the technology effectively. So I'm going to stop here because it is important to understand what means to be effective. So 2 kids can do the same task, but maybe one is more effective than the other one. And which is the difference between both of them? The difference is both can do the same task good. Both can do everything good at the end, but one of them probably do the same task in less time. So that means be effective. If you have to search for the answer in 4, 5, 6 web pages, you are not doing your job effectively. So we are trying to teach to our students that they can, find the correct answer, but they have to do that in the, less time possible for them. So it is not just to know how to do that. It is important to do that, but, correctly. So another important thing is that the technologies can help the students to acquire the skills needed to become competent. And I'm going to stop here again, because the UNESCO said that not all the students use or know how to use technology in a competent way. So what means be competent? Be competent has 3 different levels. First one, who knows the answer? What means be competent? It has 3 different levels. What means be competent? Can you help me? right. That's the first level. To know, that's the second one. The first one is to know. To know. So for example, this example always works. To know something is, for example, know the recipe. So how to do a good cake. So I can memorize how many sugar, how many, etc. But that's the first step, to know the recipe, or to find the recipe first and then to know the recipe. But the second level is to know how to do the cake. Because if you have the ingredients as the same, like I have, probably my cake will be better than yours, because I have more experience. I don't know. Maybe you are better, cooker than me, but I don't know that. So it depends of how you can do the thing, the results. So be competent. The first level is to know. That's, the first step. The second one is to know how to do that. And the third one, I think that is the very big problem for us in the university. So we always focuses on the first one. Also in the school, the first one. You can memorize when was the war. You can memorize the name of the, etc. Memorize everything. And that's the first level of being competent. And I think in the university we can afford the second one. Show me how to do that. You are a teacher, pre-service teacher? Okay. Sit here, I'm going to sit there, and I'm going to see how you teach for me. So we can observe how can do the things. But the first level is the most difficult level, obviously, because it implies always ethics, values. So in ICT context, that means that we have to teach students, be careful, because not everything in the internet is good. Not everything is right. So you have to know how to decide what is better, because I'm not always, next to you to say what do you have to do. So the third level, I think, is like more ethic, social, valoric, if you can say. So we always forget the third level. So technologies can help the students. I'm going to start again the sentence. Technologies can help students, but you, I forgot that is. That's interactive. And okay, but you need to teach how to be competent using technologies, because the students think that they can do things, but they really don't know. They are not competent. And I'm going to show you important results about that. It's not that I am saying that they are not competent. They are being under very big evaluations in Chile, so we can say they are not competent right now. So also in the introduction, we can say that the educational institutions, like the universities, and also the government, and also the schools, the principals, make large investments in equipment and in connectivity. I don't know exactly how is the reality here in the Czech Republic, but I know in deep my reality in Chile, and also I know the reality in the US and in Britain, because I was studying there for 6 months. So I can assure you that the government in Chile, at least, has been making a lot of effort to build new rooms, laboratories, to have computers, and also to have internet. And that means that the 100% of our schools have internet in Chile. 100%. So all of the schools in Chile have internet connection. And all of them have also infrastructure, and all of them receive support in order to use that technology in a good way with the students. So yes, I think it's a very big challenge if you consider just the very 3 sentences. Also, I did a little bit research, and I found interesting information regarding ICT policies in the world. So in Spain, for example, they have the Plan Avanza. So you are European, so maybe you should know that. But the Plan Avanza and the Digital Agenda is always putting ICTs into the social media. In Korea, they have the phase 5 of the Master Plan for Education Informatization, which ends this year in 2018. In Ireland, they have the Digital Strategy for Schools, which ends in 2020. In Uruguay, which is Latin America, they have the Plan Ceibal, and I know that institution because they have a lot of support from the government to train teachers in the schools. And also they have the Agenda Digital Uruguay, which ends this 2020. In Chile, we have the Red Enlaces. Red Enlaces was a project 24 years ago. At the beginning, it was a very little project which was interested in connect 2 or 3 schools, but then it grew a lot, and the government decided to put money into this project, and now we have a ministry. So they are part of the Ministry of Education in Chile. So it is an institutional project, so it will never disappear, never, ever again. And in the United States, they have the National Education Technology Plan update. It was in 2017. So they published a complete inform. So they say in that inform, which I read last night, that they are saying that the ICTs are very important in the national education program in the United States. And also in Czech Republic. What do you think I found in Czech Republic about ICT? It's sad because I didn't find anything. No mention at all in this document. This document refers about a strategy for education policy until 2020. So this is, right now it is the main, I think, curriculum for you in Czech Republic. And I wrote completely the inform. They didn't mention the ICT in the inform. So that's sad. Because Chile is a very small country, and also Uruguay.
They have special strategy for digitalization.
Yes.
But in this document, it's not.
Exactly, exactly. But this is the main policy for the country. Yes. So that's what I found. And another context to understand why it's important to include ICT in education. Because I want that when you leave this room, you will be thinking that, oh my God, I didn't know anything about that. So right now, I think that's important, which is very important, because a lot of countries are doing important efforts to include the ICT in education. So that's some numbers. In 2014, that letters means Internet of Things, right? So in 2014, we had in the world 10 million devices connected to Internet. Devices which could be a clothes, could be a camera in your house, could be a lamp connected to the, to the Internet in your house. Today could be Electra or, everything. Everything which is connected to Internet, it is an Internet of Things. So you can see in 6 years how, grow. It is exponential. It is unbelievable. If you ask me, I think now we have 50,000 million devices connected to Internet. That's a huge number. I can't really understand how so many devices are connected to Internet. So can you imagine the world without Internet right now? I can. Because when in my university, when the electricity is gone, everyone goes to their house. They don't work anymore. They can't do anything. Everything is connected to the Internet right now. So, well, that information is from 2016. That's important to cite the source. It's very important because if the information is too antique, it's too old, it doesn't matter anything. So, yeah, this information is recently. And also, this map is related to how is the penetration of technology, especially in mobile devices, which is cell phones, iPads, etc., in the world. So you can see that the penetration in the world is the 97%. What do you think that means, that number? That means 100 people have a mobile device, and just 3 don't have. That means. So I don't know how a baby can have a mobile device. So I think that, all people have more than one, which is my case. I have 3, 1 in each country. So it's stupid, right? But that's the truth. And what means 97%? That means 7.9 million of devices in the world in 2016, which means that today will be more than that, probably more than 8 million. In Europe, I am interested in Europe because you are, in this continent. So in Spain, for example, in 2014, there were more than 50 million of mobile devices. 93.9% use mobile devices. That's, from this number, 98% of young people between 10 and 14 years old have a mobile device with Internet. So for us, as a teacher, we can't, we cannot, forget this information, because our students have, a mobile device connected to Internet, and probably they are sitting in the classroom trying to use the device without your permission in most of the schools, at least in Chile. And also the users between 18 to 34 years old use the mobile devices connected to social media networks. 29 hours per month. That's a lot. That's a lot. And in Chile, we have very important numbers, I think. In 2012, we had 25% of the zones in Chile connected free to Internet. So you can go to the square and you can use the Internet for free in 2012. And 1 year later, that number almost was, twice. So yes, we have a very big investment in Chile in order to get good numbers using ICT in everything, e-commerce, administration, not just education. And in 2015, we had 416 cities connected completely free. And also we have another big number, which is the indicator of connectivity scorecard. That is a number which means how you use or how you connect to the internet in your country. So we are in 2014 in the 7th place in that year. So we were above of Mexico, for example. Mexico is 4, maybe 5 times Chile. So we have more useful connectivity than developed countries like Mexico. And also we have a very other important number, which is the digital development indicator. And that number means that the population use the internet in general. So we have the 70% of our people in Chile that use internet. And also, as I said before, we have 90% of our teachers that are doing classes in schools and also in the university. They have been trained in the use of technology by the government for free. And also we have the 100% of our schools connected to internet and also to the infrastructure. And also, that's important because it is the regulation in Chile, our national curriculum says explicitly that you have to use technology to teach. So teachers cannot do that. So they can't say, no, I don't want to, or no, I don't know how to. So they are obligated to do that. Otherwise, they can be fired. It's simple. And as this issue is very important, not just for us as a Chilean, it is important in the world, there are regulations. No? This document is the last document that I can found, which is from 2016, and this is in Spanish, but means skills and standards of ICT from the pedagogical dimension. So this document was built especially for teachers. So inside this document, you can have information about what do you have to do with technology in schools, which is the standard to use. And basically, it says that you need to use technology in 2 ways. One, the first one, I think the basis is you have to use technology for you as a person, because you need to share information with other teachers. But the second one is very important also, which means that you have to use technology to teach. And to teach for what? To teach not for you, not for your job, not that your job will be easier using technology. You have to use technology to enhance comprehension, to enhance reading, to enhance skills in your students. So your goal is not teach just for teaching. It means that your students need to know better when you are teaching with technology. And okay, as I said before, in Chile we have tests, national tests. So our teachers need to be assessed about how they use technology. So right now, this test, which is called Inicia, is taking is not obligatory right now, but will be someday. The Ministry of Education told me personally that someday will be like a law. So right now they can decide if they want to take the test or not. If they feel they are prepared, they take the test, I think. But if they feel that they don't know anything about ICT, they can say, no, I don't want to do that, and nobody can force them to take the test. This test is taken in the 4th year, just at the end of your studies as a pre-service teacher. So it is a very good indicator, so how much you know about ICT before to go to school. But the results are not good. Unfortunately, our results are not good. In 2010, just 27% of our students, pre-service teachers, obtained an achievement rate between 75% to 100%. So just 27% of our students. So the other number do the things bad, or not too good, at least. So that's not good for us. So what means that? For me as a teacher, because I teach to these students. So for me as a teacher, that number means that I am not doing my work well, because I'm not teaching very well to my students. That means, because I am the professor, if my student fails, I am failing with him or with her. So that's my question. Are you studying pre-service teacher pedagogy? No? Yes? Okay. If your student in primary school fail, you will be failing with him. For sure. So I think this is a cycle. And okay, what else? In Chile, we have another regulation. That regulation is about HTPA, which means abilities, technological abilities for habilidades TIC para el aprendizaje. Okay, that's in Spanish. Technological abilities or skills for learning. That means in English. So we regulate what abilities our primary and students in high school need to have before to go to the university. And they say that our students need to know 20 skills in 4 dimensions. The first one is information, how to use information. And I said before that, they don't know how to search appropriately in Google. They don't know that. Second one is communication and collaboration. I think our students, especially in high school, they can collaborate very good. They can communicate very good. They use Instagram, they use Facebook, and everything. So they can communicate very well, I think. And the third dimension is regarding to digital coexistence. That's the valoric and ethic issue that I told you before. For example, bullying, cyberbullying, or for example, not give your codes or address, or not to publish personal photographs or everything. That means you have to teach to your students how to behave in internet, because it's not easy to survive in internet. Not all people is good, and that's bad. My son, I have a son, 13 years old, and he was bullied in the US because he was Spanish. So I know what I am saying, and that's not good. And the fourth dimension is related to technology. So our students need to know in primary school how to do a presentation, how to use the spreadsheet, how to use the Word, etc. So they need to they need to know some applications to use that technology into their learning processes. So I think in Chile, at least, this has been has been the main focus of our teachers, to teach how to use Word, how to use Excel file, how to use PPT, and that's not the focus. You have to teach everything in order to be a good student. And okay, our students in high school also have to take an evaluation in Chile. That's crazy. They are always taking tests, but they want to measure everything. So I don't know if it is good, but they have to take, and this is obligatory for all of them in 10th year in high school. So they have around 14 years old, 15 years old, it depends, and they need to take this test, and this test is exclusively for ICT, the fourth dimension that I told you before. And the results, what do you think? But again, it's incredible. But again, just the 3.3% of our students who complete the SimSetic, that's the name of the test, are in an advanced level. Just 3%. So they think they know how to use ICT, but they don't. They don't. And also the 50% is in intermediate level, which is, I think, very, at least, is not too bad. And 46% is in the initial level. So they are with a level, so low skill using ICT. Results are very bad. So that's the context. And it took me 40 minutes to explain the context. It's complicated. Well, how many of you know what means this? Okay, you're laughing, you know that. You. I laugh too. Can you see the face of your students? Please. They don't know what means. Why do you think they don't know? They don't know. You don't know what means that. But I know. It means that. But I need a cassette in Spanish. It means that. So you can rewind or forward your cassette. It's not like a CD. It's something completely different. That is a cassette. So you use your pen to go forward or to go, rewind. And that's crazy, because that small example can show you that our students are completely different than us. So you can't treat them like you were treated one day. So you have to think different, because they are different than you. And for you ladies, could be the same thing, because 10 years using technology, I bet will be a very big difference, that when you were studying in the high school or maybe in the primary school. So this kind of kids is called the new millennium, new age, or some people call them native digitals, or there are a lot of new terms to define what kind of kids they are. But what I know, that they are different, completely different than us. And I'm going to explain you why they are different. They are different because they search for information in an agile and immediate way. So they can be different things rapidly and so fast, and so they think they can do good, the search information, but I don't believe that. That was said by Mark Prensky, which is a very famous professor who started with the name of nativo digitales, digital natives. And also, that kind of kids, they are attracted by parallel processes and multitasking. What do you think that means? Parallel task. What means that, girls?
More things at one time.
Do more than one thing at the same time. I am a woman, I am a girl, I can do that. I can drive, good, safe, and also I can, be thinking about my kids, about the cook, about the supermarket, about my job for tomorrow, about my meeting, about everything. I can do that. I really can. I really can. But they are specialists on that. So when one person asks for the kid, hey, please, look at me, because I'm talking to you, look at me. The kid probably is listening to you. I'm completely sure that he's listening to you, but he can do a lot of things at the same time. So it's not necessary for him, seeing you at the same time. So most of the teachers do not understand that. And also, they prefer playful environments over traditional ones. What means that? Playful environments. What means that? I have 2 kids, so I know that. What means playful environments? Yes, that's me. And that's an old term. That's not related to ICT. You have to know that. Gamification is not ICT. It is an old term which was, maybe in the 60s, very popular. And now we are using that model of teaching because we can use the model using virtual reality, 3D environments, video games, etc. But not just that, they can gamificate a room using different forms to seat the students. So they can go to stations within the class and doing different things in the same class. And it is a little bit more complicated when the kids are in high school, but they can do that for sure. And it is very big complicated in the university. But using technology, yes, I'm sure you can do that. And also the students, they work in network. I'm not going to explain that because it is obvious. They are connected. I told you that before. And also, what do we have to ask as a teachers? How do the new age learners prefer to learn? Do you think they prefer to learn as you learned 20 years ago, 10 years ago? Of course not, because they think different than you. So they don't prefer to learn the same way. So you can't replicate everything. You have to know different methods to teach them in order to get the attention of the student. So with what didactic strategies are we developing these competences? And obviously I am using an old picture because probably you don't know what means that again, but that's the old board in the schools. We used like tiza, I don't know how to say that in English, I'm sorry. Yeah, and that's the old school. But now you have this. Interactive whiteboards. And what is happening right now? It's happening that the pedagogical requirements are the didactic, and the didactic decide when, how much, and how to use technology. So the teachers need to decide regarding to the pedagogical requirements. They can't decide regarding if they know how to do that. They need to decide regarding to pedagogical requirements and also the didactic. So when it's appropriate, you need to use technology. When it's not, you can't do that. You can replicate your old class using technology because that's not the main focus. So I'm going to tell you a little example so you can understand the different process in the history. So how, at the end, you will see how you should teach right now. So this is the case of the Don Quixote. Any of you know the example? Yes? So you can explain me the example. Easier for me. Okay, what means Professor 0.0? What do this professor, what do? Do you know the example or not? It's different? Professor 0.0. What do this professor in a classroom? Next week, summary of the first part of the Quijote. You know the Quijote is a book, very famous in Spain? Okay, entonces the homework for this teacher, which is Professor 0.0, you can imagine a 60 years old teacher in one school. Someone who probably is going to, retire soon. So the homework for their students will be next week, you should summarize the first part of the Quijote, which is a resume. Find the resume. I don't know where, but you have to summarize that. That's the Professor 0.0. If you do that, you are in the first level. I'm not going to say that that's bad, but I'm just saying that this is the first level, the basis, so how to teach. How do our students do the homework? What do you think? If you ask for this, what do they do to do that?
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia, easier. Copy, paste, resume, and that's it. I'm going to have a 10. What is your level here in Czech Republic? 1 to 7, 9, 10? Okay, they will have what?
1. It's from 1 to 5, and 1 is the best.
1 is the best? It's the opposite. Oh my God. That's contrary to the, Okay. Oh, it's the first time I heard that. Oh, okay, it's the first time. So in the US, they use letters. Yes, they use A, B, C, math, plus, or minus, etc. And the worst could be F, and the better could be A. And for you, this student could be, could have a 1. And for me, it could have a 7. Okay, this is the professor. So the student just will go to the Google and will put in the search engine, what was the homework? Summarize of the first part. Summarize the first part of the Don Quixote. And that's it. He will find what? I do that. Or I did that before when I did the presentation. They will find 8,000 of web pages related to that homework. So do you think they will copy the best? I don't think so. They will probably copy the first one or the second or the third one. They will probably not go into the second page, which means the 10th first results. That should be the homework. So the professor 1.0. What do that kind of professor? The same homework will be, we will select the worst summary of the first part of Don Quixote. So what the kid need to do in this homework? It is different. They can't copy-paste. They can't, because they have to decide which one of the first page of the first 10th results will be the worst. So what skills are they using?
They have to compare this.
Compare, exactly. So in the level of the skills, they are using their mind in a better way. So they are not copy and paste, they are not finding information, they are finding the first step, but the second step is they are finding, but then they have to compare. Otherwise, they can't do the homework. More complicated a little bit. Okay, Professor 2.0, the third level. Look at the professor, it's different, no? And in this case, the homework will be, we will publish the comments on the word summary of the first part of Don Quixote. So what do they do to get a good score in this homework? First, they need to find information. So they need to search. Then, what do they have to do? They need to search. And then they have to compare, because they have to decide which one is worse. And then, what do they need to do? Another skill is different than the other one.
Give arguments.
Oh, maybe.
Analyze the programs. Search the programs and look at the comments. Look at the worst summary.
They need to, what they need to do? This. Publish. So what do they need to do when they decide which one is the worst? So I decided this is the worst. What do they have to do then? They have to
Write a comment first.
okay, yes, in the second step, okay, but then they have to move on. They have to do a third thing, which implies a third skill, which is different than the other two first. They need to publish. And I don't want to come back, but I told you before that there are 4 dimensions. One is to information, second one, I don't remember, communication, I think. The third one is ethic, and the fourth one is technology. Do you remember when I said the abilities for primary and high school students? Well, of those 4 dimensions, students will need 2 different things. First one, they need to publish. They need to know how to publish. If they don't know any applications, they will not publish the work. So they will not have the better score because they will do the homework at the middle. So they will need to publish. So they will need to communicate, write, or I don't know how, maybe take a picture. I don't know how they will communicate the results, but they will need to communicate, and also they will need another skill, which is know how to do that. Prove me that you can publish the homework. So 2 different ICT skills. That's the Professor 2.0. But there is another one. So this professor, I think, is good. If you are doing this, you are working with 4 different skills in one homework. So you are doing good. That's a good teacher. And you don't always have to do the most difficult things because this is a homework. So they have to enjoy when they are at home too. So if you are doing this once a week, it's fine. Or once, even, I don't know, maybe a month, you are doing fine. But they need to move on in the difficulty. So there is another one. The 4th step, Professor 3.0. This professor, look at Einstein. That's a very good image. This professor says, next week we will look for the evidence about Don Quixote as the main work of the literature in the Spanish language. So this is not compare. It's not the same ability than the before. And in the order of the difficulties, they will find evidence. So that's not compare. What ability will be this one? If I need to find evidence, what they will need to do? What do you think? In the order of abilities, or the complexity of the abilities, what do you think they will have to do in order to find evidence, which is, Don Quixote is the best book in the history of the Spanish language. What do you think they have to do? They can copy-paste, they can compare. What else? What do you think? I'm going to help you. Analyze? Do you think? Identify? Elaborate? Evaluate? What do you think? I don't know. It's open. In the scale or the level of complexity, I don't know. But some of them will be, in the highest, and some of them will be in the middle. If they analyze, for me, it's better than compare, because they need to find evidence, so they need to analyze 1, analyze 2, and then analyze 3, and then maybe compare all of them, and they decide, I don't know. But they will, for sure, they will need to do more than compare. That's for sure, to do this homework. And they will use Moodle, Dokeos, etc. And there is the last one. The last one. And I am that kind of teacher. So I'm proud of myself. Professor 4.0, the fifth level. Einstein is not Einstein. It is like a 3D person, which asks, we will meet at 3 p.m. on the Molinos Island in Second Life. So this will be the picture for this teacher. So the student will need to do everything that I asked before. They will need probably to copy-paste, and then to compare, and then to analyze, and then to publish, and everything. But then they have to discuss with the teacher online in the 3D environment. So probably they will, need to find a place, maybe a free space in 3D environments. I don't know. Not all of them are for charge. In Second Life, I know this topic because I researched on this, but Second Life is a paying space, but there are a lot of free rooms, so you can use. But be careful with this, because in Second Life you can find bad people too. And also they have regulations, so I think students of primary education cannot use, because they are under 13 years old. So you have to be careful. When I used 3D environments with primary schools in this, with primary students in the school, I worked with students of 10 years old, and I used OpenSim, Open Simulator, which is a closed space, and we built a school in that kind of environment. So it's not open to everyone. So you have to take some important details before to do that. Well, as a teacher, again, what do I have to do as a teacher? If I am a teacher 4.0, I get ahead of technology, not pursue it. That means you have to be just in front of the technology. You can't see like in your shoulder. So you have, yes, you have to see in your shoulders. So you have to be in front. Technology will be after you. So that's what that picture means. So you have to get ahead of technology. Okay, that's the introduction. I think most of our teachers at the university are not doing this. I think maybe they are 1.0, maybe 2.0, it depends on the career, I don't know. I hope they are moving in more difficult stages, I don't know. It depends on the amount of students, the quantity in a room. If they have 100 students, it is not probably, you know, an easy way to go to the 3D environments, but okay, that's the context, and you have to, you know, evaluate every situation. So in terms of how to do that, how to work like a 4.0 teacher, what do you need to know? So this part of my presentation, I think, is the most important part, because the first one was, you know, the motivation. So I think you now think that this is important. You cannot use technology for teach. You need to use that in a good way. So in this part of the presentation, I will show you some different strategies, methods, and all of them are have been used by me. Okay, I'm going to explain a model, which is the old model of teaching. This is not, or this model should not be, you know, in our classroom, not anymore, not anymore. And this is a model in crisis. This is the teacher in the center of the process of learning and teaching. And also this is the student, with what means the students, you know, above is down to the, I don't know how to say that. Under the, what means that the student is under the teacher? What means that? That's easy. What means that? It's under me. What means that?
Not so important.
Not, why is not important?
I see this in your model, but I don't agree with it. But I think you want to say, to tell this information.
Exactly. That means this is the knowledge. Knowledge is here. Here is the knowledge in my head. I am the king, or I am the queen. I'm a rock star. I know everything. Do you believe me? Because I'm not. If you do, you are wrong. Because I'm not rock star. I don't know anything. I can't. That's impossible. If you are a teacher and you think that you know everything, you are wrong. Completely. So this model is in crisis. It's not working anymore. I'm not the queen of the knowledge. I know some things, but for sure not everything. No. So if I think that my students know less than me, I am wrong again. So the model should change, obviously. So the model will not be, you know, in a vertical way, could be in a cycle, because the knowledge is around us, everyone, parents, principals, administrative personnel, etc., students, everything, everyone, knowledge is everyone, everywhere. So teacher is at the same level that the students. Probably they know more than but they know another kind of things, probably. So they can teach them, for sure, another kind of things. Not probably trigonometry or geography or something, but they know, they have other skills. So those in this circle, they will create new knowledge together. That means this new model. This is a cybernetical model. This professor, I know him, is Marcelo Cariaga. He's working with me in my university, and he's very clever. He's really very clever. And he created this model, and I think that's a very good one, because the knowledge is around us, all of us. And we should create new knowledge. Professors at the university shouldn't just replicate everything. As I read a book, so I said the same thing to my audience. I should create new thoughts about because I have a background, so I have previous knowledge about the book. So I can create, I can explain myself, I can mix ideas. So my work is to create new knowledge. And my work is that you should know how to create new knowledge. That's my job, not to repeat everything I said. And so there are other models. That was one of them. This is the TEPAC model. That's very famous. Do you know this model? Yeah? And you as a student, do you know that model? TEPAC model? No? It's very famous. I know him, Mishra. Punia Mishra. Yes, he is very famous, and he was in Chile, and I had the opportunity to meet him, and also that's why I know the model very well, because he explained us in the Ministry of Education in Chile how this model works. So I'm going to say a little bit of this model because it is different than the other one. In this model, they said, Kohler and Mishra, they are two professors that worked together a few years ago, and they explain how to be a good teacher. What means to be a good teacher? What a good teacher what they need to do. So they need to know the content. What means the content? What means to know the content? It means if you are a teacher of maths, you know how to teach what? If you're a teacher of maths, what do you need to know? It depends if you're a primary teacher or a high school teacher. But what do you have to know about the content? Or history, what do you need to know? Or languages, what do you need to know? Physics.
Grammar.
Okay, exactly. But it's easier than that. The answer is easier. Oh, I should bring, like a gift for good answers, so I can motivate you. But the answer is easy. If you need to know the content, you should need what? The curriculum. It's easy. You don't know, exactly the units and everything, but you need to know the curriculum. And the curriculum is changing almost 2 or 3 years. It depends on the country. For us, our curriculum is for 4 years. Every 4 years, they are changing, introducing new things, new concepts, new units, new forms of evaluate everything. But as a teacher, you need to know the content. That's the minimum. The content. If you don't know math, you can't teach math. That's obvious, right? So also, they say that you need to know the pedagogical knowledge. Pedagogical knowledge, oh my gosh, that's very important. Because when my students go to the schools, you cannot believe that, but they don't know how to, work with the groups, or they don't know how to do a parent meeting. They don't know how to, use the book in the classroom. Right now, everything is online. But before, they needed to introduce if they are on or out the classroom, etc. So, the pedagogical knowledge is regarding to averages, meetings with parents, everything. which is not related to content, that's the pedagogical. Everything else is important too for a good teacher. So what is the most important contribution of them? The third one, which is the technological knowledge. So they say that if you are a good teacher, you should know the content, you should know the pedagogical, and you should know the technological. So they think that all of these three dimensions, interact, the two, and then there is a little spot here, which is, the very best teacher, which is, in charge of everything and which can manage everything in a classroom. So that's the model. And I had a very interesting research about this, using this model in a pre-service teacher. So if you want to know about that, I can share the information later. So teaching with technology is a weak problem. Weak problem, which means complicated, okay? Weak problems require creative solutions. So teachers are designers of the total package. So when they have problems, they need to be creative persons, and they need to, use the whole package to jump on the problem. And there is another model. I'm going to go fast from here. This is the same professor, Marcelo Cariaga, 3 years before than the first model, and he improved the first one because he introduced 2 different levels in the previous model, because he said that the knowledge is in the center of the process of teaching and learning, and they need to, a person, a student, or a teacher, need first have access to the information. So I'm going to Google something, I'm going to go to the book, or etc. Or access could be interview, observation, not just ICT. Have access to the information is the first step. And then they have to create. So with that information, they have to do a report. They have to do a resume, or they have to, give something to the teacher. And that's the corpus. And then they have to transfer that information. So if I create something, I need to transfer that. That's the teacher 3.0. They need to publish that, or they need to, stay in front of the class, and they need to explain what they found, etc. They need to transfer the information. And then, maybe not always, they need to represent the information. This is the last step in the model, and this is the most complicated for this model, which means that you can transfer. The transference implies that you can say, like memorization, you transfer. You say everything. But the representation means that what you found, you should go inside your back knowledge, and you need to create something new. That's the representation. What do I understand about that? And with my own words, I need to say that with my own words, which is new. I'm not copying, I'm not saying the same things, I am doing something different. That's the representation of this model. So I have another research using this model, and it was very, very good. I don't think I have time to explain the research, but I can share with you that. Okay, I'm almost finishing. My last part could be responding what kind of strategies, methods, or examples can I find in order to be a good teacher. Okay, at the beginning, some strategies. So you have to know what is wrong, what is not good as a teacher. So that are a bad question, and this is a question from teacher in the 21st century. So my teacher, when I was young, asked me, do you like lemon pie? This is a simple question, but can you imagine something different related to linguistic or history or I don't know. Do you like something? Which will be the answer for this question? It's easy. Yes or no. Do you like lemon pie? No.
No, I
I don't like. Very good. Long answer. Very good. So this is not a good question. If you are teaching in this way, you are doing bad things. The question should be, which is your favorite dessert? So they have to think what is the, better dessert for them. So this is an open question. So if you are preparing a test, you never should use this kind of, this is closed questions, and this is an open-ended question. What else? Do not you see that you made a mistake? No. I didn't see. I made a mistake, and probably I don't know why I did bad, because they don't know what was wrong. The question should be, how do you rate this action? What do you think you did wrong? Why? How? What did you do? Show me. If you had to do the equation, what was your first step? What did you think about that? The second, the third, and you will find probably the error. Another question, make a summary of the book. The same, the first level. The second, choose the worst book summary on the internet. And tell me the date of this event. This is a memory question, and to describe the context in which this event occurred. So strategies could be questions for learning. That's different than memorize. Collaborative work strategies. They can learn not alone. They can learn from their, friend or, I don't know, maybe parents, I don't know. Products for learning. Show me that you can do that. Again, the competence, the second one. Show me that you can do that. It's not the same than memorize. Again, our students are overcoming temporary space barriers. So what means that? We should use Web 2.0. Because we can have meetings with them without any complication about time, about place, about anything. What else? We should use the individual student learning at the first step, because they need to read first. They need to do that alone. But then they need to be guided by the tutor. And that tutor could be a friend, could be a classmate, could be an assistant. In some places they have assistants. Could be the teacher also, could be the parent. So the first step is individual learning, and the second one is they need to have a mentor, a tutor, or something. It depends on the, on the difficulties. Another strategy, tutorial and communication online between teachers and students. Not all of the teachers are using the Web 2.0 web page. Also, students do collaborative learning environment, and in collaborative learning environments, I told you that before. So, who share the same interested? If they are interested in Instagram, probably they share the same interests. Also, this strategy reduces the loneliness feeling, because the students are very complicated right now to know new people and to share without in face-to-face. They don't know how to do that. anymore. It is difficult for them to interact face-to-face. And also another strategy could be create communities of learning where they can interact through teamwork. And also they can adapt the contents to the individual differences. So a good teacher, what do they have to do? A good teacher should adapt the information in order to the different levels of knowledge of their students. Not all of them are in the same stage. Probably some of them know more than the other ones. So using ICT, what will happen? The teacher can do flexible, the teacher can adjust the information, the teacher can personalize the itinerary for the student. It depends on the level, you know, for each student. And not all of teachers are doing this. And some methods that I have been used in the university that are simple examples, but they are mine examples. I use with my students Scoopit because I decided with this platform, which is free, they can publish. And that's an important level of, in the dimensions of our students. So in this platform, they can search, they can publish, and also they can curate information, which means they need to evaluate what is good and why it's good, and they can, you know, put messages before publish something. And also another very good strategy could be Quiza, because this is for free also, and you can create quizzes, and you can also create study cards, because with at the end, the application can generate automatically the questions, you know, using not just the ICT, you can use actual paper. And this is another platform that I also use with my students, because I have English teachers in my classrooms, but not just them. They are interested in learn different languages. So in Duolingo, you can learn for free also. And I also use Sinfonical, which is a task management application for collaborative work. So when I decide to work with teams in my classrooms, I give them different tasks, different for each group, and also I need to see what they are doing during the week, because the task is for the next week. So with this application, I can see the different steps for each group. So for me, it is a good application. And also, I'm not using this, but I say always to my students that's a very good platform in order to know different things. This is TED-Ed and also Coursera. I took one course from the AMT for free. I didn't get the certification, but if you pay a little amount of money, you can have the MIT certification for the different courses that they have. So this is very good. And as I said before, it is free. And also you can say different videos, interesting videos about different contents, so they can, they explain in the videos how to teach different contents. So you can see the strategies that they use, so that's very useful sometimes. But the main problem, which is that these are in English, mainly in English. And also I always use Google, because I need to have hangout meetings with my students. I travel a lot, so I use this kind of application to do my classes. Actually, I have 20 students in the same room at the same time, and we can have a class in you know, online for free also. I also use with my students in the first year, I use this for first year pedagogical careers, just for the first year, because it's very basic, but I found some students that they don't know anything about this. So I think it is important because all of us should have a web page in order to show what do you want to show to the rest of the world. So you can do your personal blog. And why I put blogger? Because it is related to Google, but also you have Wix, which is also free. In my master degree programs, I use these tools, different tools, because my students, they are, when I teach them, they are doing their thesis. So for them, it is very important to use, for example, in Google Drive, to use the forms, you know, so they can put in online forms, they can put the test, so they can take data easily for free also. So I also teach them how to use the different tools. I like to use the Word application because they can work together, not face-to-face online. And also, I think that SlideShare is very useful because when you cannot publish something because it is too heavy in a Wix or in a Blogger, you can put that, a video, for example, in YouTube or in a SlideShare. And also, I always teach them that they need to have a backup. And this is just an example because I don't use anymore Dropbox because I don't feel that this is safe, and I don't want to pay more money, so I'm not using that right now. But I always explain to them that they can. This is an option, also like a Google Drive. And this is the last one. And for us as a teachers, this is the very important application. It's plagiarism.net, and with this you can see if your students are doing copy and paste easily. And there are another one, but they are, you know, you need to pay for that. So at the university, for the doctoral program, we are paying for a very good application, but this is free. So you can use this, especially for higher education, I think, because they copy and paste a lot of things. So that's the last one, and those are my emails if you have any question or something. And also, I don't think we have time. Lucy, what do you think? No. But I also have a... I also have another presentation with my projects, and as I am a researcher, this is just the theoretical part, but I think when we talked yesterday about this presentation, I thought that I cannot show you the results of my projects if you don't understand why I did that. So this is the basis. This is the most important part, because you have to know the theoretical background first, and then you have to, you know, get data or thinking in an intervention or educational intervention. So just to show you a little bit, because I don't have time, I know, but just to show you that I am doing interesting things, a lot of interesting things in the last 6 years. I think that's why I won my grant, because I am publishing a lot and doing a lot of interesting projects. I am doing research with her. This is Mina Johnson, and this is a video game to improve the nutritional habits in primary students. And I'm going to show you this because this is my last project with Dr. Glenberg. And this is not? Okay. And see, this is just, it's a short video.
Who got a big steak dinner for a reward?
He created.
Readers can often read words out loud, but when they get to the end of a sentence, they have no idea what they've read. The problem is particularly acute for children learning to read in English as a second language. How can science and technology help? The Embrace project is funded by the Cyber Learning Program at the U.S. National Science Foundation. It is based on the idea that reading comprehension is an active process of simulation that uses the reader's perceptual, motor, and emotional systems. That is, reading is more than just pronouncing words. The words need to be used to drive imagination. The trick is teaching children how to do that. Embrace is a tablet-based application. Children read stories presented on the tablet accompanied by pictures. While the child is reading, they actively manipulate the pictures to simulate the story.
Then he put the pig into its pen.
So, we teach the child how to read actively by literally having them be active. Some of the Embrace texts are multi-chapter stories, and others are informational texts, like this one about the circulatory system.
Ventriculum.
At the bottom of the heart.
Having the child move blood cells from the heart to the lungs and then into the rest of the body, they learn not just about the individual parts, but how the systems work together. Embrace has several features designed to help English language learners. For example, when the child taps on a word, they hear it pronounced in both English and Spanish, and the object named is highlighted.
Corral.
The Embrace application can be beneficial for a parent working with a child. The application is particularly useful when the parent's reading skill needs improvement. But best of all, Embrace increases reading comprehension. As reported in our peer-reviewed research, Embrace often doubles reading comprehension. In the near future, we will be adding intelligent tutoring to Embrace. Depending on how well the child is doing, Embrace will provide more or less vocabulary assistance, and sentences will increase or decrease in structural difficulty. The goal is to keep the child learning at an optimum rate. In addition, we envision including more languages such as Mandarin, Arabic, and Tagalog to help children around the world learn to read in English.
I'm gonna stop the video here.
Embrace is an
Yes, I'm gonna stop here because this is the application, and I already bought 13 iPads for my own. It was very expensive, but I needed to do that because I need to collect data. So if you are interested, we can think to get data here in Czech Republic, Lucy, because in my country English is within the curriculum of all of the schools, so they need to learn English. It is different in the US. So the application work like the student need to, go inside and they need to, yes. Where is the volume? So yes, they need to understand.
Yo voy a leer la próxima oración negra, y luego la vas a leer tú. Acuérdate de tocar next cuando termines de leer.
Claro, entonces los estudiantes.
Lisa cuida a los animales del zoológico.
The application is telling you what means the information, and you have to do things. So that's the embodied cognition theory. And this is the basis of this application. This is not a simple book in an iPad. This is different than the other one. And in the video, they told us that they are preparing a different level, and we already have that level. And also, they have the Spanish language version, and also they have the Mandarin version, English Mandarin, Spanish Mandarin, Spanish English, and English only English, because they need to teach to the kid that they have to imagine what means the word in order to understand that. So they are preparing the kid to think alone. So at the beginning, they will using the iPad, but at the end, when they are using the book, the regular book or the newspaper or everything, they should know how to do, how to imagine the word so they can understand better the information. So this is a very interesting project, and yeah, we are working on that. And also, That's I was working with her. I was working in an online platform, and she had very important results with the students. With him, I was working in another application to teach English, especially for the TOEIC bridge exam, which is in Chile, taken by the students in high school. And also with her, Michelle, I was working in creating a video game, which is for free. That's why I'm gonna ask you this, because you can teach your kids to learn English for free with this application. You can download the application. And she obtained very good results also. And with Matilde, we were working using another model. I didn't explain this model because it's the flipped classroom. And we used the model, and she obtained very big results in the university. She is an engineer, and she teaches at the Faculty of Engineering with this model 2 years ago, and she had very big results. So I am completely convinced that the ICTs help or enhance the teaching and learning processes. That's it. If you have any question, I don't think we have time, but yes.
I have one question, but we have no time. Thank you very much for your presentation. I think you told very, very important things.
Oh, thank you.
But I liked your example with the professor, with the four professor, but I missed the original text. I think it's very, very important to work with the original text, with the real text, with the real language and so on. What do you think about it?
Can you repeat me the question?
I missed in your model with the professor 4.2 and so on, the real text, the original text of Don Quixote.
Oh, I see. Okay, yes. Yes, in the example, they didn't read the book at the beginning.
Yes.
Very good idea. I'm going to incorporate that in the next presentation I will do tomorrow.
Because I think
You're right. You're right. They cannot go to the resume before to read the book.
and to work with the original language and so on.
You are completely right. I agree. Thank you.
But I think it's very good because you told we can work with everything to combine everything, every methods and so on. It's really interesting, but it was the one element that I missed.
Yes, you're right. Yes. Another question? Or maybe not question, maybe a comment. What do you think? What do you think? What's your name? Kate. What do you think about ICT?
Yeah, I enjoyed the presentation.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was rewarding. That I might start thinking in another way, incorporating the technology and the teaching in education. The last application that you made, I think it's awesome.
Yes.
I will check it out.
Yes.
It sounds really good to check.
Oh, yes, of course, we can do that. Of course. That's why I told you before that we can do different things together. Yes. Thank you so much for your comment. Another one? I would like to hear you. That really, I would like to know what do you think. Girls? I know the English is an issue. Believe me, because I was so worried before to came here, because this is not my first language either. So, what do you think? Girls? You. Ah, I don't know your name. The lady in, what color is that? Purple? Purple, yes? What do you think?
I think it was very interesting, and
I don't know what I say.
I have a question for you. Do you think you will use the ICT when you will working? Do you think you will use someday technology? Because here in Czech Republic it's not obligatory to use.
Yes.
So do you think you will do that or not? Definitely not.
Yes.
I want to know that.
I think I will.
And do you know how? Do you believe that you know something? Do you believe you are prepared for that?
I don't know. I think I will use technology, but I don't know how.
That's the most important question. Sometimes they don't know how to do that. And we are failing, Lucy, because it's our responsibility. They should know. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for having